Imagine a harsh winter, long before electricity could be harnessed for warmth, or modern-day insulation used as a barrier against the deathly cold. Imagine spending the long bleak months, hoping you won't run out of fuel for the fire or food for yourself and your loved ones, not knowing whether you will survive. Now imagine waking one crisp, clear morning to a day less cold, less life-threatening, to the melting of the snows, to the appearance of the first buds of spring. How would you feel? What would you do? Would you laugh with glee? Would you jump for joy? Would you dance? This is Morris dancing. It has always been associated with spring. Perhaps that is why dancers wear flowers on their hats, a way of echoing nature's potent fertility, in the hope that crops will be bountiful and that the earth will provide. It may well have been used to awaken the green man, the pagan equivalent of Mother Earth, who would spew forth vegetation and replenish the land with new growth. Morris dancing has been practiced for hundreds of years in many different guises. Its most popular revival is still going on, both in Britain and around the world. There has never been more people dancing the Morris. So why is it seemingly dying out in New Zealand? New Zealand. Morris dancing has always struggled here. Sides have sprung up for a season, or sometimes many seasons, only to eventually fall back into the soil of this indifferent land. Despite this, though, Morris dancing has been practiced in these isles for over 40 years. During all that time there has been the Tour, a week-long event where sides from all over the country convene and dance up a storm in parks, pubs, shopping centres, even on trains. It is held in a different part of the country each year. This year the group will be staying in Motumoana, a scout camp in Auckland's Green Bay. First to arrive are the Americans. Most have been to these shores before, some many times, but not for several years, so that when the first Kiwi arrives, he is barely recognisable from the 8-year-old of memory. Miles is now 15, and one of the few reasons to hope that the torch will be passed to a new generation. For now there is time to relax and take in their surroundings. They will be dancing soon enough.
6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16.
You're another 600.
More and more people arrive. Old friends are greeted, as well as new ones. Once people have settled in, the hankies come out. Some familiar sounds are heard, and the all-important workshop has begun. Once people have the basic stepping, Miles gets to demonstrate some moves.
1, 2, step.
Some sides only know their own repertoire, so this workshop is an opportunity to learn a couple of dances at least that everyone can join in. They will be performed en masse at every venue throughout the week. Finally, it's time to take their particular brand of entertainment to the streets. First stop is New Lynn, chosen as the place to trial run the tour dancers. The tour has truly begun. first individual side to show what they can do is the travelling Morris team from America, Hanky's Gone Awry, led by this man, Brian Smith.
And I went along, and of course I fell in love with it, and that led to a wonderful career of dancing in England, and then ultimately moved to America, where I danced with Sunset Morrismen from about 1986 on. So for me, it's now 43 years. And it is a way of life, let me tell you. And it has certainly kept me going. So, and I think everybody should do it, because once you get into Morris, it is a way of life. It's not just the dance. It's a whole attitude to life.
Some sides struggle to get a full side up, so have to amalgamate with others. Not that you can tell by this performance. Here is Phoenix Morris from Taranaki in the waistcoats, and Heart of the Sun Morris from Hawke's Bay in the red and green baldricks. Next up is another amalgamated side. This one includes members from the British team Ragged Robin. They're the ones in the black and red tatters. They perform a particular type of Morris known as molly dancing. Next, it's time to take the train into town. But waiting for trains is just another opportunity to dance.
Taking up a whole carriage.
Britomart Place and another mass dance, Valentine, for as many as will. A short walk now to the Viaduct Basin and another mass dance. This one is made up, in other words non-traditional, in the style known as Border Morris, from the Welsh border that is. And now the host side of the tour, the City of Auckland Morris Dancers. This audience comprises mostly dancers. Sometimes it's more important to seek shade rather than their public. And now a male side from Wellington, the illustriously named Britannic Bedlam Morris gentleman.
Safely on dry land, heave away, all away,
Finally, it's time to head back to camp. There's no such thing as waiting for trains when there's dancing to be done. And when you can't dance anymore, there's always singing.
Landlord, fill the flowing bowl until it doth run over. For tonight we'll merry, merry be. For tonight we'll merry, merry be. Merry be. For tonight we'll merry, merry be. I like pickled onions. I like piccalilli. Pickled cabbage is alright with a bit of cold meat on a Sunday night. Oh, I could go tomatoes, but what I do prefer is a little bit of cucumber. I come, you come, little bit of cucumber.
He added that.
'Cause no one gives a shit about your birthday anymore. No, it's not important. And if you want the truth, it's simply a good excuse for your friends to all get drunk together. I'm certain you shall agree your brain starts to atrophy each time that you celebrate your birthday. Unfortunately, you'll find the best part of life's behind you. Soon they will throw your final party. Your teeth will rot, your hair fall out, and sex will merely refer to gender only. So raise a glass with me, a toast to senility.
Yay.
We wish you a happy crappy birthday.
Soon may the wellerman come and bring us sugar and tea and rum. One day when the tonguing is done, I'll take my leave and go. No line was cut, no whale was freed. The captain's mind was not of greed, but he was of the whalerman's creed. He'd take that whale in tow. Soon.
The back end's stuck now.
Tomorrow we'll be loading from the main road rather than
Very
going
sensible,
out there.
very wise.
I'll second that.
A slow start to the day when one of the buses gets stuck, but it is soon freed and we arrive at the Botanical Gardens in Manukau, only a little behind schedule. The weather isn't doing us any favours, although it does ease when we begin dancing, even if the melodians still need protection from the rain. The rain also keeps less hardy folk away, so they have to make do with an all-weather audience.
For me, it's a unique, just the physicality of it. is
Form of
amazing.
expression.
It's an exuberant dance form that just I've not encountered with other dance forms, and I do love other dance forms. But there are very few that involve that amount of athleticism, that amount of just put out the energy.
The highlight of the day, however, would have to have been the Glenbrook Vintage Railway. An hour and a half through picturesque Waikato countryside. The perfect opportunity to relax and watch the world go by. And now the reason why one of the dances was chosen becomes clear. Travel by steam, also known as swaggering Boney, and there's a fair bit of swaggering going on due to the unpredictability of the train's motion. There is just enough time for dinner and to freshen up before a very different type of English dancing. Tonight the Morris dancers have invited the local community to a ceilidh. This differs from the display type of Morris in that it is a social dancing of English folk culture, and anyone can join in. At first, some instruction. Then they're off. Strictly speaking, these English country dances aren't part of the Morris tradition, but they are from the same backyard.
Wash the bottom, left hand turn, wheel, in the go folks, and through again. Lovely recovery, sir, well done. In for two. Walking through though, settle wash the bottom.
And so the dancing continues as the night wears on, with no signs from the dancers that it is time to repair to their beds. After all, there is more dancing scheduled for tomorrow. What is it with the Morris and moving objects? The confined space of the Devonport ferry doesn't hinder them either. Here is another dance in the Welsh border style of dancing. Not to be outdone, the Americans perform a dance from Ancient. This one is performed fast and furious. The faster the better, in fact. Most sides try and get it done and dusted in under a minute. This one clocks in at 1:12, so no Guinness World Record attempt today. But the performance does culminate in a virgin sacrifice, so that's nice. Destination Devonport, a short ferry ride to a seaside suburb, where nods to a strong nautical heritage occasionally present themselves. Even the Luz looks suspiciously like a boat, or should that be a ship? When on the other side they have to wait for the buses to catch them up. They took the long way around. So what do dancers do to kill time? You guessed it. Dancing on the wharf does have another advantage too, a wooden surface, more yielding than concrete and more springy than grass, which even in the height of summer can sap the momentum right out of you. After a short bus ride, the group find themselves at the Devonport Naval Museum. There has been a naval presence in Devonport since before the First World War, with the barracks at North Head that housed the enlisted men, enjoying some of the best views that Auckland has to offer, and beneath which are the labyrinthine tunnels that would have been used to transport ammunition to several strategically placed guns. But for now, it's guns of a different sort that are being depicted in this next dance. Shooting from the village of Atterbury seems to mimic the age-old pastime of hunting. Once again, the dancers are treated to a wooden surface, but some prefer less kind concrete, as long as it is out of the infernal sun. Jill takes the opportunity to perform a solo jig.
I like the bounce of it and the lift that you get in it, and I like the teamwork as well.
The Americans perform another dance from the village of Ancient. This one, Feathers, is absent of any sacrificial virgins. Sooner or later, however, they will have to meet with their public, even if it is in the high heat and humidity of an Auckland summer. Sometimes dances get made up using existing music. This can lead to curiosities like this next performance. Hanky's Gone Awry hijacked the music for a dance called Blue-Eyed Stranger, but performed something else entirely. It's called The Stalk. Next, it's time to climb. Mount Victoria beckons. Unfortunately, the local iwi or tribe that has jurisdiction over the mount have recently banned cars from the summit, so there's nothing else for it but good old Shanks's pony. The Devonport Folk Club has convened in this converted bunker for over 40 years. They meet every Monday night, and during half-time intervals, the audience and performers alike are treated to these spectacular views. Inside, as well as serving as a unique and intimate venue with great acoustics, it doubles as a museum.
Much nakedness. Show Hillary your shirt now. Oh, isn't that cool? Oh, yeah.
Roger Giles, past president of the Devonport Folk Club, remembers Morris dances from the days of his youth in England.
They used to go and dance in my father's pub and dance outside in the spring. I never ever thought it was funny, that they were even strange. It was something I was brought up with, I suppose, and it was all part of what went on. It was, it was like penny for the guy, that sort of stuff.
Bouncing off.
Yeah, still love it. I love being with my friends and love the music. It just feels good to be part of such a lovely old tradition.
Your opinion on the future of New Zealand Morris in particular?
Oh, I don't think it'll ever die out. I mean, I think people just get all too worked up about this stuff. Apparently in the 15th century there was talk that it was going to die out, and apparently it's been a race with the undertaker from the very beginning, that's what they say. So I'm sure it's going to become really cool again very shortly. I'm a great optimist.
Eventually it's time to head down to the waiting buses, but not before Miles finds his own way to farewell Devonport.
Go back to when I was a young dancer. I started when I was 26, and how it was just dancing every single dance and the kind of high, the adrenaline, and it was just such a high. And in fact, when I was living in England and danced with 3 different sides, I described myself as a Morris junkie because I just couldn't get enough.
It's skit time, and since they are ensconced in a scout camp, it is perhaps not surprising that the evening has a scout theme.
Captains go by motor car, lieutenants go by bus, patrol leaders have bicycles, and never make a fuss. Seconds they have roller skates to roll the miles away, but all the poor old girl guy gets is hiking all the way. Oh, that's the way they treat the girl guys. That's the way they treat the girl guys. That's the way they treat the girl guys. And the girl guys go to camp. Captains, they are married. Lieutenants, engaged. Leaders, they are courting, although they're underage. Seconds, they are trying, and sometimes they succeed. But all the poor old girl gets is a scout with no bleeding.
And now a song written and performed by a friend of the Morris, though you wouldn't know it by this song. It is called Nuke the Morris.
Where's my gun? The Morris dances are near. I'm setting up right now in the village square. I'll shoot them all dead. No, you won't, my good wife said. There'll be children there, behave yourself, she said. They've got swords made of wood, and they're up to no good. They got hankies they like to wave, and none of the men shave. None of the women as well. And they jingle those bloody bells. I could show them a few tricks with those long blunt sticks. We're divorced now. She's called in the lawyers and bankers and run off with a bunch of Morris dancers. It's such a bitter pill. Morris won, Gary nil. That's why I built this little nuclear bomb. Your Honour.
It wouldn't be a Morris meet without the inevitable gift-giving ceremony. They are usually the types of gifts that no one wants, but that doesn't stop them from being given. And it wouldn't be a scout meet either without the obligatory campfire sing-around, and sausages and marshmallows.
I need a stick.
All is well, safely rest. God is mine. Oh, lovely.
Another one fell off. Oh. I think I know where this is going.
Until the night finally falls, even if the mosquitoes are just getting started. The following day sees a revisiting of Auckland's North Shore. This time we begin in the leafy surrounds of the Takapuna Library. Here we see the reversibility of the American waistcoats. The men seem to be proving that if you are comfortable in your own masculinity, you can dance in any colour, even pink.
This is a tradition that we know of only one other side in the entire English-speaking world that dances in this fashion. This is the tradition of the village of Bessel's Lee. It is a recreated tradition from a very short set of notes that a few people have tried to bring back to life in the way that many of these Morris traditions have been done over the course of a very long time. I don't believe Bessel's Lee has ever been done before on these shores, so you're all about to see something completely different. No pressure.
It's called your Texeter swing, by the way. You didn't mention that.
I left that for you.
Ah, okay. Through the middle.
An opportunity to dance is created for young and old alike. Maybe some of these youngsters will rekindle this fond memory later in life and fan the Morris flame. Next stop, Takapuna, and the host side again, City of Auckland Morris dancers. The Pum House on the shores of Lake Papuki is now a small theatre complex beside a volcano crater lake less than a kilometre from the ocean. Once again, shade provides the best sanctuary from the oppressive heat of the day. There is just one last stop before heading back to camp for a few well-earned beverages and more dancing. A feast and ale is when they eat, drink and are merry, before turning from the tables to dance for their own enjoyment. But first, a few solemnities.
And the next toast is to our founder, God rest his soul, Cecil Sharp.
And looking on, with bemusement perhaps, or feigned disinterest, Lord Baden-Powell, creator of the Scout movement. What would he have made of these alternative activities, we wonder. Next up, a rapper sword dance. This type of dance hails from the north of England, mining towns and villages.
enthralled. And that was when I started. And I said, that's me, I'm going to do some of that. And Roger realised, our squire Roger, realised that there was a potential person to actually, you're coming with us. And so I went along straight away, and I've never stopped since. And I dance whenever I can. I try not to miss anything, and that's including practices, dance outs, no matter what. I'm in it, and that's me, and I just love it.
Here's Polly with her first ever solo jig.
Smart!
That upon your first solo jig, you're rewarded with a tip. Gentlemen, another step.
And actually start to dance and just loved it. And I love the music. There's some wonderful tunes. I love the physicality of it. Well, certainly when I was younger. And so.
What does it feel like when you're dancing?
Well, sometimes euphoric. Yesterday, horrendous, because we don't experience this sort of humidity in Adelaide, where I come from, and I lasted for one dance, and I thought I just can't go on.
Yeah. And here is Don Barnes in the relatively humid-free cool of a summer's evening, performing a double jig with Jacko, a dance from the village of Oddington.
Got dragged into it, actually indirectly, by that one over there, by Jay. I had several years of history of working with other kinds of historic and folk dance. I had already spent several years teaching Victorian ballroom dance, and had started to work with a troupe that does 16th century Italian Renaissance dance, fairly exotic stuff, the direct ancestor of ballet. But this was something that it hooked me. It feels so incredibly vital. You're alive when you're doing it. There's nothing quite like it.
Next up in the jig section of the evening is Bill Batty and Brian Smith with a dance from Bampton, a Nutting Girl. Miles Dawson is going solo with a dance from Sherborne called Jockey to the Fair, with a proud father supplying the music. And now the result of some cross-pollination that took place during the week. The Britannic Bedlam Morris Gentlemen with a dance of their own creation, the Minute Men.
I've been doing Renaissance fairs since my teens, since high school, and just kind of fell into it. I love dancing, and it gets me out of the house.
And after a week of performing this tour dance out in the public arena, it's travel by steam, which should be a lot easier on a stationary surface.
because to do it right, you work as a team of 6, not just 6 people that happen to be dancing in the same space, but you really work together and pushing each other to be better and better. And to me, that's what's so much fun.
I joined the Morris to meet dancers.
Not woman.
I'm kidding. I was actually forcibly drafted into Morris dancing.
So you can do that?
Apparently. In California they can.
Okay, so we can learn that trick. With a huge dollop of Californian attitude, it's Hanky's Gone Awry for the last time. Sweet Jenny Jones is the host side's farewell dance and the end of another successful national New Zealand Morris dancing tour. From here, some of the guests from overseas will drift off to explore the rest of New Zealand. Many others will meet next day at the Auckland Folk Festival. There is just one more song before we go, a parting song.
Stay.
But the end of the Morris Dancing Tour is not the end of Morris dancing in New Zealand. During the make of this documentary, 3 sides have now sprung up. One in the Wairarapa, one in Hanmer Springs, and this one from Whangarei. Thus has continued the rebirth theme that is at the very heart of the Morris, this celebration of renewed life. And so they recede to their own respective sides until they answer the next call, to an equinox or May Day event, or even next year's tour. For those who are left to carry the flame, their love of the Morris still shines bright. It is a beacon for all those who would draw near.